Can we listen to that call, Chung? Were you calling for yourself, or you have that call?
It's on the I was calling for you guys for no excuses, yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's kind of embarrassing because I was kind of stumbling, I think.
It's all right. Nothing to be embarrassed about, brother. We all start somewhere, and we all that's what we're here for, is literally to get better, and improve. So
that was actually the first conversation I had, because from all the time I've been calling, 90% of the calls are either like drop calls or like hang-ups. And so that was like the first time I was able to kind of have a conversation. It was still a no, but like not interested, but it was kind of like the first time I was able to talk to someone kind of. But 90% of the calls are just like instant hang-ups or something.
Yeah, that's your job. Maybe it might help to think of it framing it a different way. Our job is to collect no's,
Mm-hmm.
I think Mark Cuban said every no gets you closer to a yes. So we just like we don't buy every house of the person we talk to. Everybody that we talk to is not going to be qualified. Their property is not going to qualify for an offer. They're not going to be qualified to work with us. We're not going to be qualified to work with one another. So it's okay. You're collecting no's all day. That's why you're here. It's great that you're here. We calibrate this call, and you can kind of take that into your next call, because the large majority of the calls that we get are hangups or no connections or not interested or whatever. When we do get a call, it's like you said, you're kind of stumbling over your words, a little bit nervous maybe, because it's like, I can't believe somebody actually picked up the phone and they're actually talking,
Yeah.
right? That's natural. We all experience that. So, you'll keep going through it and keep doing it. We could collapse time frames here by listening to the call, and you get feedback from 20 plus people in here.
Mm-hmm.
And it really just smooths out the process and makes it a lot shorter. But it's up to you. But you're not going to get better and look good at the same time. So
Gotcha.
Good job getting out there, putting yourself out there, making the calls, brother. That's good.
Yeah. Also, one more thing. One of the biggest things I've run into so far are like I'll call, and then the script will open up, and I'll say the script, but then I'm always getting the wrong person on the line. Like it's always like someone else. Like, oh, hey, you have the wrong person, or wrong. That's not me at all. Like I'll say the name. It'll be like, let's say a female's name, and it'll be like a guy on the phone.
Yeah, it'll vary from people will say different things. For me, when that was happening to me, what I would do, I would just skip the name. I would say, hey, this is Cody calling from Home Buyers Network, real estate investors, calling about your property on Main Street, looking to see if you possibly consider selling. I eliminate it, but sometimes it's good to get a no, because you could engage with them. Like, hey, Bill, hey, Bill, this is Chung from the Home Buyers Network. This isn't Bill, this is Bob. Oh, Bob, I'm sorry. Calling about the property on Main Street. Nope, that's not the wrong property too. I don't know anything about that.
Mm-hmm.
You can kind of go, hey, man, I'm really striking out here. I don't know. My assistant must have got all the information wrong. What properties do you have that you're interested in selling, that you might be interested in selling right now? I don't have any. Okay, hey, Bob, Bill, who do you know that might be looking to sell property, even if it's land? Nobody. Get off my phone. Click or whatever. You can sleep well at night knowing you squeezed all the juice out of that lemon, right?
Yeah.
So
that's kind of like how it goes.
Yeah, there's a couple. I mean, there's many ways to go about it, but me personally, that's what I would do. I would just skip the name. I would just say, hey, or hello, this is Cody calling from the Home Buyers Network, calling about this property on Main Street, real estate investors, calling to see if you consider possibly selling. Just like that. Because that was tripping me up a lot too. You'll get other feedback from other people in the room, but that's what worked for me. Just skip it.
I would ask for their help. So when they go, hey, I'm not so-and-so, I go, oh, man, maybe you can help me. I'm looking for so-and-so. They own this property. Do you know that person? Maybe you can get me in touch with them. Sometimes they say, oh, that's my brother, that's my sister, that's my aunt. And then you go, okay, great. What would be the best way to reach out to them? And then give you some information. If not, then you just kind of go in the same thing Cody said. Okay, no worries. Is there any other property you might be interested in selling while I got you on the line? Okay, I'll put this in as the wrong number. Thank you for your time. And you just move on to the next one.
Yeah, it's interesting. I had one today, and he was about to hang up. You can sense when they're doing that, right? You got the wrong person, mate. You know. And I said the address and something, and then he said, and I paused, and then he said, "That's my stepfather." And I said, "Oh, okay, okay. You wouldn't have to know that whether your stepfather would be interested in selling, you know?" And he said, "No, I don't. I don't think so." You know, I even went as far as say, "No, well, do you have his number so I can give him a call?" And he paused too long, you know, so he didn't want to give his number out. I said, "Well, I tell you what, next time you talk to him, can you let him know I called?" And he said, "Yeah, he would do." So it's amazing how things can turn out sometimes when you're talking to the wrong person. Because these calls are skip traced, and they'll pull out every number associated with the person, so they can often be relatives or a step person or an ex or something like that. So give out the address, you know. So if it's 123 Main Street, say the house on Main Street, you know.
Hmm.
Do you know why I might have been calling this? Even ask them that, you know, I've got this number. Maybe it's associated. Do you know anything about that house on Main Street? You know, it might dig something up, a clue. So that's why you get a lot of wrong numbers, because we're calling all these numbers. When you skip trace, you have about 10 numbers returned. And so, you know, we're calling all those numbers. Yeah.
All great feedback. Does that help, John?
Yeah, that's actually really informative. So I'll try to keep them on the phone and ask more questions next time.
There's been a lot of times that as we listen to calls here, you'll hear where it's the wrong number, or wrong person, or something's off about the data, or
Mhm.
some sort of mix up, and then when you ask that follow-up question, it opens up to other opportunities.
Yeah, 90% of the time I just go, do you have any, I'm a local investor, so are you interested in selling your property, or do you know anyone who's selling a property?
Right.
Yeah,
And that's a great one.
Chang, what did you disposition the call as?
that's also one thing I'm still trying to learn how to disposition it correctly, because I think it was not interested or not available. No, I think check out drop voicemail, because I was clicking that by accident too.
Oh God. Okay.
Sorry about
I'll put you through the disposition course.
Yeah.
Okay. So Elvi, try that not interested 2 minute long.
It was probably the longest combo I had today, because most of them were just like a few seconds. So
I got
it's the long. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
I'll play it and let me know if you can hear me.
Hey, Mark, this is Mike. I'm a local home buyer. I'm just seeing if there's a possibility of you selling your home.
No. Who you calling, sir?
Is this Mark?
Mike?
Mark, this is Mike. Are you Mark?
Oh, no, either one. No, I'm not.
Do you know Mark? Is there Mark?
Yeah, either way, I know the answer is going to be no. That's my brother, but we're not selling nothing, sir.
Gotcha.
Appreciate that.
No problem.
No, we're good. No,
Are there any other properties that you would consider selling, or do you know anyone?
I tell you, I'm impressed way y'all going around, not just you, but hundreds of people like you calling me all the time, trying to buy my property. I can't sell it. This is all I got. There's nothing in my area. The property across the street from me went for $310,000. That blew me away. I mean, that was amazing.
You,
But
do you think you
anyway.
could get that much for yours if you ever in the future consider
No,
selling?
no. I can't sell it, bro. Listen to me.
Oh,
I had no. If I sell it for 300, I had to go out and pay 400 to buy something else. I don't have any payments. I own this. I can't give it up.
yeah. I kind of get you though, free and clear, right?
Yeah. You know,
Yeah.
I don't need nothing. I don't want to increase nothing. I'm downsizing.
You,
You want to buy some tools?
you want
That's
to as in if you I get you're never gonna sell, well probably not, but if you
No.
ever were to,
No, I
yeah.
don't give it to my family.
Yeah.
I'm getting a will set up to go to my family.
Yeah, that's
And my brother lives next door to me. That he's not going to sell either because
Yeah.
his property is going to go to his daughters along with mine, so they can have something good. They don't make any more land.
Yeah.
And I'm from here, and I'm tired of this country, this state, this county. Just everything's solid, and it's overpopulated. I know because I live here.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
I totally
But
understand that.
you keep on doing it, and 1 out of 10, you might get lucky. Maybe better. I don't know.
Yeah.
Good luck on that.
Yeah. Thanks a lot though. Take care.
Yeah,
Good
you
luck.
too, bye.
Take care. Bye.
Yeah.
Man, you got somebody that was all hyped up for sure.
Yeah.
There really wasn't anything wrong that you did. It was great. You asked the questions, you kept him on the phone, and he was actually calming down as well. So, and he was opening up. So I thought it was great call. Yeah, just keep those up,
Yeah, I kept stuttering. Like I was like, what do I even say to this? Every time he said something, I was like, what am I gonna say next? I don't know what to say.
You did fine on that call. Yeah. I've done way worse than that. I always got nervous when they said they've got to do a calibrate call. I hope it's not me.
Sean, how long you
talking
been-
like a friend? Sorry, Mike, Cody.
That's fine.
Sorry, what?
Just talk like just act like you're talking with a friend. What would your friend say if he was selling his house or not interested in selling his house? How would you respond? Just try to think that everyone you're talking to is a friend of yours, a family member. It makes it a little bit easier. Anyway, sorry,
Gotcha.
Cody, to cut you off. I apologize.
No, you're fine, brother. That's good feedback. So, and that goes into just kind of, we call it a pullback. Just, when he's saying all this stuff, like he's like, yeah, good luck. Keep doing what you're doing. Maybe 1 out of 10, maybe better. You'll get lucky. Like we're thirsty to buy houses or something, and we're not going to be thirsty. Just don't. You're like, yeah, okay, yeah, I called you. What's going on? He said I can't sell. It sounds like he might want to sell, but he can't because houses are too expensive now. And then he said he's going to leave it to his parents. Shad will tell you a story about a friend of his, I think, where the dad's like, hell no, never selling. I'm just going to leave this house to y'all, to the kids. And when you guys do whatever you want with it, I'm butchering the story. But then his, that owner's wife died. And then like the next week, he's like, oh yeah, this place for sale. I can't stand to be here because of the memories. Same sort of thing with this guy. So great job sticking on the phone with him and asking. You asked the question. You did the feedback that we gave you already. You asked the properties, and I forget the other, but you did very well in that. How long you been cold calling?
Thursday, Friday, and then today, Monday.
Have you ever cold called before?
No, but I've watched a lot of the shots. I watch almost like half of all the videos on cold calling from shots Wednesday Zooms.
All right, bet. That's good, man. You did great. I mean, that's what it is. You just got to keep doing that and keep getting those petitions in. But you did an excellent job on that. Other people have some feedback, probably with some nuances to that call. I mean, there's a couple of things you could have dug into a little bit, a little bit of mirroring, matching him when he said I can't sell, or I'm down. He said he's downsizing.
Yeah.
So there's a reason why he's on the phone with you, not to just give you a hard time. And he was calming down, like settling in a little bit. So there might be something there. We're here to see if we can provide value. One of those ways is to try to let people know what all their options are and kind of go through it with and kind of consult a little bit. That's an old way of selling, that consultative style, but really just be a resource for them. Downsizing.
Yeah, because when he was, that's the thing, when he was going into all that stuff, like why he can't sell and downsizing, in my head I was running. It was like running. I was like, what do I say? I feel like there's something here, but I don't know what it is. Like I didn't know what to ask him. Like, do you need help? Like I just didn't know at the moment what to say, but I felt like there was something there too.
Yeah. Yeah, there could be, or maybe could not be. Who knows? None of us know. And that could change. It could have been nothing earlier when you talked to him. Something could have happened tonight to make it change for him. So you just kind of go through your system. You know what I mean? And don't
Right.
don't sweat the. If one of them slips through the cracks or something like that. You just.
Mhm.
I think in football they call it. TJ will say this: it's a touchdown and then a check down. You try to go see if you can disqualify him or qualify him right away, and then kind of just go through it and see what's what. Let the conversation take you where it does, and keep it conversational, like TJ said, talking to a friend. Like you're just curious. If your friend that you haven't talked to in a long time, you happen to call them on the phone. I mean, pretend literally you could do that. You seem kind of young, but we get lists. You could call somebody that you know from way back when or whatever, and they're selling, possibly selling their house. Well, hey, what's going on? I didn't even know you bought a house. What was going on? You bought a house? Well, okay. What was the plan when you got it? Okay, cool. You got, oh yeah. And then we got divorced. I got you. You got to, okay. And you're just curious. Hey, what's going on? What was going on? What's going on now? What do you want going on in the future? Just like you're engaged with the person that you're genuinely interested in talking to, like a friend.
And never be frightened of pauses or not knowing what to say. If you don't know what to say, don't say anything, because silence is more powerful than the words that we say often. Make them feel uncomfortable, and they will fill it with words, and they're telling you information then that we need to know. So often the silence is more powerful than the words we say.
Just like right now.
Just like right now. Very powerful.
Yeah. It's all great feedback, Chung, to your question, your original question. You didn't know what to say. Repetition. We keep saying it, that was a learning experience for you. You're going to learn from that one. The feedback you're getting right now, you're learning from that. Next time you run into that, it'll get a little bit easier. The time after that, it'll be, simple. And then after that, you'll just be a pro at it. And you're like, okay, cool. Like it's just water off a duck's back. So cool. All right. Let's jump into a call. What do we have lined up? What call? Whose call are we calibrating? And
We had Bagu call for last week that she talked about.
okay, cool. We got it lined up?
Yep.
All right.
Travis?
Yes.
Hi, Travis. My name is Dee with your local home buyers network. I was calling about your property, and we are local investors in your area. I wanted to see if you would consider selling.
No, not interested. I just bought a year and a half ago.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay, you just bought it a year and a half ago. Great. Well, congratulations. And then
Thank you.
can I ask you just a quick question? Should I put you on our do not call list, or just put you as a note you're not interested for right now?
Well, I'm not. I would say it's do not call, but the one thing I would say is I own a vacation rental business where I manage vacation rentals, and I don't know when you guys, so from a seller perspective, I'm not interested, but if you guys are investing in properties, what do you do when you buy them? Are you flipping them, or do you manage them? Like, what do you do?
So we're doing all of that, actually. We are local, and you are definitely correct, Travis. If they're great properties, we actually rent them out, and some we use them as Airbnb, some we use them as a portfolio in our network here. Definitely. So that you are definitely correct, Travis.
Cool. So for the ones that you manage as an Airbnb, do you guys manage it yourself, or do you get somebody else to manage them for you?
Actually, we actually keep them in ourselves here, and we manage them ourselves, and we track them. Are you? Yes. And can I ask you? What are you looking for?
Well, because I manage vacation rentals, and I'm also the chairman of the Vacation Rental Management Association. So I'm
Okay.
always looking. Yeah, so I'm always looking for inventory. So if you guys ever got sick of managing them yourselves and wanted a manager, I'd love to take your inventory.
Okay. Oh, okay. So I'm gonna put a note here that you, so I'll be very clear with you. So I'm the first contact person, and I'll put notes
Yeah.
here that you, are interested that you are interested in management, and if we have more to contact you, and so somebody in our underwriter team will call you back.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
fair enough?
Yeah, no, that's fair. I understand your role. Yeah, and really what it is just, in the note, put I'm a short-term rental manager that's
Okay.
looking for inventory. Okay.
Okay.
That way, because if they're managing it internally themselves, first of all, that's a business in and of itself, but so they may want to get rid of it, or if they have somebody else and they want a competitive bid or whatever, then I'd love to talk to them just to see if maybe I can help them on that end, because I would love to just take the inventory and manage it for them.
Oh, that would be amazing, because we are definitely looking for other, so that would be perfect. I will put that in our notes.
Awesome.
And thank you so much, Travis, for
Yeah,
taking
you
my
got it.
phone
Thanks for
call.
the call.
I
You got
will.
it. All right.
Okay, thanks.
All right, Bagu. What did you think of that call now that you're hearing it?
Now that I'm hearing it, I'm realizing there some things I realized I could do better. And then asking him like a little bit more questions of how he got into it and what is he looking for. And it just makes me think right now of what is it about the management that he likes and what is it that he's looking, just having more of like clarity and follow-up questions. That's what made me think when I was listening to it again for the first time, actually.
It was a little that one's out of the blue. Like I actually haven't heard
yeah,
that one, so that's not every day.
Yeah, it got me out of like, oh, and I had to think really fast. I was like, okay. So yeah.
Awesome. What do you guys think, audience? What anything jump out at you guys? What do you guys think about it?
I think it was good how she answered, like, hey, do you want me to put you on the do not call list or not interested? That was perfect, because she pulled back and the guy pulled back in. But I will ask, like, what do you mean by management? I mean, do you buy the properties yourself, or you just want to maybe go a little deeper on that? But that's it. I like it. And maybe tonality, less salesy, a little more detached. I like it.
Yeah. I did like that too, when you asked about the do not call, and then he came back quickly, right? And then, no, I don't want to be on the do not call. I want you to call. I want you to call and tell me when you guys have rental properties, short-term rentals that I can manage.
Good job. I thought you did really well. Yeah, the only things I might try to get into is what was that areas he was looking for, and does he own any himself, or does he strictly manage? And so try to get into that. If he owns any, then kind of get into what his buy box is, what he's looking for. Maybe we can give him some business down the line, kind of thing. But other than that, you did really good. Good job.
Thank you. I was just caught by surprise, so I was trying to think really fast on my feet.
Yeah, I was thinking about the surprise. When we're making these calls, we got two goals really. We want a lead and we want a partnership. So those are the two things we're doing. We're not just looking for leads. So think of it like this. So your pivot would be, well, that is fantastic. We're always looking to partner with people who are in real estate. I see you're a manager here. Certainly, do you own these properties, or could, if he does, are there any for sale right now? If he doesn't own them, if he just manages, saying, you know, there'll come a time when the owner wants to sell one of these properties. If you let us know, we can pay you a referral fee, you know, and because you're going to be a great source of leads for us. Likewise, if we come across a buyer of our properties and they want to do a short-term rental, we've now got your name and we can refer you. And so it can be a two-way relationship. So that's the biggest thing from this. And that was not just one deal. These are the best, the partnerships. We do when they come across as a realtor, you know, we pivot and say, great, we're looking for partners. We're looking to partner with you. We're looking for properties that we can fix, but sometimes they're just retail and we can give you a referral, you know, as a realtor, or you can some things that you come at houses that you don't want to list, you can refer them to us. So I think there's two reasons we're on the call is to get a lead for a property, but get a partnership is worth many properties.
Yeah. Yeah, that was going to be my feedback, guys. When you talk to investors, when you talk to somebody like that, if he manages Airbnbs for a living, that means that some of those Airbnb sellers are going to want to sell their property, but not just the property and the actual business, the Airbnb business that goes with the property. And that could be a potentially great lead, right? So an exchange of information, like, yeah, absolutely. We do manage most of ours, but I'll definitely keep your information. And we do know a lot of other investors. So if we come across, we don't do any management for other people. So you'd be a great resource for our network and people that we know. And then asking, is that nationwide? If you're doing it nationwide, then now we really know a lot of people that do it. And then from there, ask, you know, do some of those people that you manage Airbnbs for ever end up changing their mind and want to sell their properties? And then that's when it can turn into a gold mine of a lead, because it could turn, maybe not immediately, but you know, in the future and over time, it could turn into a lot of potential leads. So yeah, great feedback, good stuff. Good call and good feedback.
Thank you.
All right, I think we got enough time for another one. If we have one queued up, let's do another call. Who do we have a call for?
Actually, I have another one from Bagu. It was today, and so we'll listen to it.
All right, it's Bagune.
Gary, this is Tolly.
Hello, is this Tolly?
Yes.
Hi, Tolly. My name is B. I'm working with the Home Buyers Network, and I'm calling about your property twisters in your area. And I'm just calling to see if you would possibly consider selling.
Sure. Are you buying?
Yes, we are definitely buying. Yes, we are buying.
All righty. How much will you give me for it?
And what is it? And what's gotten you to consider selling, if I may ask you?
They just increased property taxes beyond belief. So
I
doubt you'll buy it.
apologize. Hold on, in my phone, there's some kind of disconnect. So you said your property taxes has gotten you consider selling?
Yeah, it's just beyond belief. So I doubt
Okay.
anybody will buy it anymore. I doubt anybody will buy it.
Okay. And then can I ask you, are you the only person on the deed, or is there somebody else that we would have to call?
Oh, my wife or the bank, I guess.
Say that again.
My wife in the bank.
And your wife and okay. Would your wife is she open with you? Is you guys would you also want to sell
Yes. Well, for the right price.
for the right price? Okay, great. And what is the price that you are looking for?
What we paid for it plus it'd have to take on the lease of the solar panels.
Okay. And what you paid for it? Okay. I okay. And then what's the and once you get the price that you want, what are you guys thinking about doing? Are you guys considering moving to another place or another state?
Yeah, probably another state.
Okay. And where would you like to relocate at?
What does this have to do with you buying my house?
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Sarah. And then what's the so far? What's the condition of your home?
It's in great shape, but some of the questions you're asking me is making me wonder who you really are.
Okay.
All right. You have a great day. Bye.
Oh, I remember this. I had such a hard time hearing him. Was hearing, now I can hear it better, but I was only hearing bits and pieces of what he was saying. That was my challenge today.
No problem. It happens. Sometimes the connections aren't great. So you said, why you're asking all these questions, and we have a go-to for that. Who can chime in on that? Who wants to take that one?
Well, it sounds like when they're asking what does that have to do with you buying my house? That is the classic thing. It could be the bed bath count, the mortgage, the why they're moving, any of that. So that's just a clue. It's an indicator that we jumped the gun a little bit. Jump the gun on trust. They don't trust us, or just we haven't built enough rapport, right? Or some other things too. So he's just like, who is this? What do you what do you want? You feel like you're gonna get scammed, right? So that's where you go with that. Hey, Mr. Seller. Usually when people say, hey, what does that have to do with selling the house? Or who am I with? Because that was his follow-up question. It's like, who are you with and where are you calling from? Something like that. Hey, it sounds been doing this long enough to know when people say that, it's usually because they feel like we're a scam. Is that what's going on here? Well, yeah. I mean, you're calling me out of the blue and I don't know you. You're asking all these questions. Yeah. Hey, Mr. Seller, I get it. It's a great question. Hey, all of our transactions go through a title company. Okay, we go through a title company. You could choose a title company if you want. We end up doing business together. That way, they make sure that everything's on the up and up. Make sure that you don't get scammed. Make sure we don't get scammed too. So that's how we handle that objection, or that when they say that they're trying to put the brakes on. Like, whoa, I'm asking all these questions. What does it have to do with my house? Buy my house. You hit them with that. Hey, sounds like you think you might be a scam. Is that what's going on here? Yeah. Or they'll go, no, I just want to know where you're calling from. Well, calling from the local home buyers network. We're just local real estate investors looking to buy a property in the area. What's got you looking at possibly selling? They'll tell you where they are with it, whether they think it's a scam or they're just, it's like an objection or something, That's what you could hit them with that. That somebody else might have some different feedback, but that's usually what we do with that.
Yeah. And that was amazing feedback from Cody. So to answer Shad's question, I think it was the more we know, the better we can help. When somebody asks you, why do you need to know this? That's the go-to line. We're going to put it on a t-shirt. Graham is usually like the chairman. He always says it. But the more we know, the better we can help. So that is the line. And then with this, I agree with Cody where, he doesn't like you at that point. It's too early in the call. You haven't built rapport. But another thing I would also put in there is your tonality. And I went over this, your tonality and the inflection of how you ask a question. That's how somebody perceives why you're asking it. So if you're saying questions and you're asking questions, but it's just in a straight way, like, all right, where are you moving after you sell this? The prospect or the person on the other line, they feel like the reason you're asking that is because you're trying to manipulate them or you're trying to get certain information out of them. So what I would encourage you to do is what we do in everyday conversation. You know, my mom, she got her keys and she was running out of here like, you know, somebody was chasing her. I was like, hey, where are you going? She's like, oh, I'm just going to the store and then I got to do my registration. That natural inflection when we ask questions is really important. So I think you start applying that, people will be like, oh, she just generally wants to know where I'm going. So that was my feedback on that part. The other part is the intro. So we've heard like the intro twice. And this guy, for example, he answered. He was like, hey, this is Polly. And you're like, Polly? And you waited for a response. I think you should, especially if they give you their name, like, hey, this is Jane. Hey, Jane, this is Allie. I'm calling you from the Home Buyers Network about the property on Main Street. I'm just seeing to see if you maybe possibly consider selling that property. That's going to sound a lot smoother getting into the conversation rather than like pausing after you say their name. I think that'll help you get your foot in the door a lot smoother. But that was all I had.
Yeah, both great feedback. They both definitely work, and that confidence does go a long way. And you can just you can just make it conversational. You know, when they start going off the deep end like that. Oh, I was just curious. You know, just out of curiosity, and then you dovetail that to Allie's feedback with, you know, usually the more we know, the better we can help. And you might be a bit weird. Then you go and you could, if you needed to or wanted to, then you can go into Cody's feedback, right? Usually when somebody might be a little skeptical when we call out of the blue, you know, they're worried about us being some sort of scam artist or not knowing us, but you can rest assured all of our transactions will go through title. You can go down, you know, down that path. Because that you guys could all hear it, right? He started to get a little sketched out. Like, now I'm wondering who we really are, and you know, what kind of scam. He's literally saying, like, you know, what kind of scam is this? Not a scam. We're just calling to find our next fix and flip or buy and hold.
Yeah, I mean, really good job on the call. Take this with a grain of salt because I haven't closed anything. However, I did notice that when you jumped in, he immediately said, oh, property taxes. I doubt that anybody will buy. And I would have been curious about, like, why do you feel like that? And then he jumps into how much. And the next question was, why do you want to sell? I think that it was just a lack of maybe acknowledging his questions and making it like more conversational, because I feel like he just wasn't engaged. He maybe felt like it was a script. And then at the end, when he said that it was in great shape, I think that that could have tied back around to when he said, I doubt anybody would want to buy it. Cause like, if it's in great shape, then why do you doubt that anybody will want to buy it? Overall though, I think it was, I mean, cold calling is one of the hardest things in the world. And the fact that you even jumped on and, you know, shared the cause, I think that's like a step further than most people. So kudos to you, seriously.
Yeah.
Hey, awesome feedback.
Thank you.
There's a one, this Bala, there's one thing I heard the call, there was somebody in the back, maybe his wife or somebody's talking in a low voice, prompting him, or I don't know. Did you guys hear that?
I didn't catch it, but if you heard it, then that's great active listening. Did anybody hear that?
So there was some kind of low voice, either acknowledging or where that voice is. What voice was, sorry.
You muted yourself there for a minute, Bala, but.
Oh, what I was saying is that it looked like somebody's kind of giving him a feedback to talk or whatnot. That's what I heard.
Yeah.
Like every sentence, before every sentence he was talking, there was some.
Yeah, that happens. How would you deal with that if it was? So you hear somebody feeding them lines, like
Yeah, great observation.
I think we stepped on each other. Go ahead, Shad.
No, that's great active listening. There's a lot of details in those little cues that you can pick up, because there's a lot of times there's people in the background talking or whispering into it, and if you guys can hear that, sometimes it's a good idea to just acknowledge that, or at least at minimum take note of it. So I think my internet's cutting out because it seems to be cutting out here. Cody, go ahead.
No, that was it. Just to, like you said, to label and acknowledge that. Hey, that's an influencer right there, right? Get that out early. You could get both people on the call. That'd be awesome too. You know what I mean? That's all I was gonna say, just to acknowledge that. If you heard that in the background, Bala.
Thank you.
And Bagu, I would just really echo what Ace said, that feedback about acknowledgement, and Diana typed it up too. It sounds like she's under the weather. I don't think she'll be speaking much on here. The part of the challenge with that call was when he would say something, you didn't acknowledge it. You basically ignored it and moved to the next thing. And I think it's because you're nervous, which happens. But it's okay to acknowledge what they say. You know, I forget what it was that he said, but there were at least two things. One, he said like, "Oh, what does it have to do with you buying my house?" And you just said, thank you, and moved to the next question. And then another thing he said, you didn't reply to it at all. You just said something else and no acknowledgement. So with that, that's going to make people feel a certain way and make you feel like it's a scam or something like that. But so I would just really work on just acknowledging what people say. And then, move it to the next question. We could work on that.
Yeah, thank you for that. I realized, yeah, those are really good feedbacks. So I'll take a note of those.
Yeah, I know it's a lot. So, just keep coming here and we'll keep doing this, but great job putting yourself out there. Like you're doing great.
I was gonna ask Bagu, how did you feel about this seller?
Well, I was hearing like just bits and pieces of what he was saying. So, and I was trying not to repeat myself. And then I felt like I couldn't get a good read on him. And that's what I was trying to figure out.
Yeah. That's kind of the impression. Yeah, I understand that, because that's kind of the impression I had. I almost thought that he was pulling you along, because I mean, I've not really heard of anyone moving because of taxes, going to all that trouble just because of taxes. When he said that, did you hear him say that, or?
I did hear him say that, and I was like, oh. And then I heard taxes, and then I wanted to ask more, but then I was getting in my head, I was like, oh, someone really would move out, sell their home because they didn't pay their taxes?
It doesn't make sense, does it? It's crazy. Yeah. So, I mean, when somebody says something crazy, I think everything else stops and you figure that out. Because you got really nervous, I felt at that point after that question.
Yeah.
It didn't make sense. And so it's important that, especially in this modern age with the AI and what have you, and people trying to pull their legs, and you get lots and lots of these calls. They'll come up with all these strange, wacky moving. I've never heard of it. I know we all hate paying taxes, right? I mean, every one of us. But I mean, to move house because of taxes, and then his condition of his house was okay, it didn't make sense. So don't be frightened to confront him on that. You're not going to lose anything, because it will put you off, because the question after that was way out. It wasn't in context, and it rolled down the hill because you didn't confront it, I think, so.
Got it. Thank you.
Well, let's have a quick combo about that. And Mike Lays, if we could touch on yours as well, I'd love to hear your feedback on it. But on that topic of taxes, is it? I want to have a quick conversation with everybody in the room. Is it crazy to move because of taxes?
I want to move to Dubai just so I can not pay taxes at all. So that would be a very valid reason.
Very good.
Well, how past due are the taxes? I mean, was he moving because the taxes are high or because of past due taxes?
Well, we'd have to ask a clarifying question there, right?
I made an assumption.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On me.
I'm curious because Michael said like this sounds like a subject to. Why?
Because in the call, he said he wants to get what he paid for it, which is a subject too. It'd be like, all right, how long have you been in the property? It leads to a bunch of things, but as someone who's just having an initial call, I wouldn't go into it. I would just plant the seed of curiosity. Oh, it sounds like you want to do a subject to deal. What's a subject to deal? Well, my underwriter will go over that with you and explain it way better than I can, but I just have to get some more information. And then it just opens the door wide open for more questions.
Boom. Right. Good point there.
That's reading between the lines, guys. So he said one thing, but then when you get it more advanced, you're gonna read between the lines and hear, and know what questions to ask. That just comes with skill, right? Mike's very skilled, so he's able to pick up on that and decipher that very quickly, right? And then that can open up a whole new line of questioning and take the conversation in a whole different path. I just want to get what I put into it. I just want to get out of it what I'm into it for, something like that. It has a whole lot of meaning that has to be unpacked. But surface level, like he's not saying anything, right? A lot of like when we're newer, we're like, oh, okay, yeah, I mean, duh. You want to get out what you put into it. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. But there could be more to that story, right? Now, maybe he's not able to easily get what he put out, especially if he bought it recently. He bought it for 300, even if with his down payment and all that stuff. If he didn't put a large down payment, he hasn't had the property long. By the time you have all the seller fees and all that fun stuff, you're not going to get what you put into it out. Especially with Zillow helping people get into houses for 1% down. That ain't helping. You better want to live in that house for a good number of years, if you're, or hope for appreciation. Right, and hope that the market goes up drastically. But going back to this taxes thing, guys, just so we can open up that conversation. Do people move because of taxes? Have taxes ever made people move? Yeah, Nancy says, yeah. Why? You gotta speak up. People in the back can hear you.
The tax is low, so yeah, they prefer to move over there.
Okay, I don't think this guy was trying to go to Dubai, but I don't know what kind of taxes he's talking about, first of all.
I know a lot of people leaving California and New York right now because you guys are paying high taxes over there. And look at the hot spots. You got Florida, you got Texas. They all have low taxes. You got the big industry leaders going over there. So taxes will definitely play a part now. How big of a part? That's probably a different conversation, but everyone has their own thresholds as well.
Yeah.
I just saw something interesting that Pace posted in a video where he explains creative finance to sellers, and he says that selling subject to means less taxes to pay. So that is like a point for people deciding to go subject to instead of cash, for example. Like, I don't know. I just thought that it has to do something with it.
Yeah. So let me plant a seed with you guys, and Ali can speak to this because this is a real life scenario that we dealt with. In 2023, property taxes went up. Property taxes and insurance, right? The T and the I in PITI went up drastically in a lot of states. So we dealt with a property where I don't remember the specifics, but I think if I'm not mistaken, they were paying what, 1,100, 1,200 a month was their PITI,
Yeah.
right? And then it jumped to 1,600 and something, if I'm not mistaken, because their property taxes jumped. And these people had just bought the property like a year or two. Allie, do you remember, or Nancy, do you guys remember the specifics of it? I remember something like that, and I remember it was what was it? What was
It
that?
was, they bought it in 2021. They moved out there so they could like truck business, but they ran into issues with that. And then once January came around, the property, their PITI jumped from 16 to like 2,300.
That's what it was.
And at that point, they fell behind. They were on like a private lender. So they were charging them like a good amount of interest. And yeah, they just couldn't afford it because he wasn't working the same type of job. So he wasn't making the same pay. But we should follow up with that guy. I can't remember the name or where it was, but it was like middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
It was in Texas, South Texas somewhere. Over close to Corpus, I think. Not Corpus Christi, but it was close to it. So now I remember, yeah, you're right. They were at like 1,600 and they were cool with that. They could afford it. That's what they had planned on, right? Paying 1,600 PITI. And then January, their property taxes reset. And then now all of a sudden they have to pay like a $2,200 a month PITI. And that jump was not like they weren't prepared for it. It wasn't something that they could handle. So taxes do mess people up. It's not just like, oh, I hate Uncle Sam, I don't want to keep paying him. It's I can't pay this anymore. I can't afford it. Like this is not what I signed up for. Right? We looked at a property in Georgia. The payment jumped like $150 a month or $200, something like that. It was right between 150 and 200 a month. We literally had to sit there and break down the PITI. We're like, what is going on here? Like, where did this extra 100 and whatever dollars come from? Couldn't figure it out. TI, taxes and insurance are going up for people. And that's happening nationwide to a lot of folks. A lot of people will just absorb it and they're like, okay, it is what it is. Some people can't. And they're going to start falling behind on bills. They're going to not pay the taxes. They're not going to pay their mortgage payment. They're not going to, it does happen. That is a real thing.
So that's a precursor to house prices falling then.
We'll see.
It'll take time to go through the system and for the number of people falling behind, that all takes time. But that's a precursor to prices falling. Because it's affordability that houses sell on affordability. So if they're less affordable, the prices will come down. They have to.
Maybe he was trying to move to Dubai.
Maybe he's trying to go to Dubai. Maybe. But yeah, that is a real thing, guys, and people do deal with like that taxes thing. Graham, that conversation is a whole different combo. If it's a precursor to prices falling or if they're about to skyrocket, I don't know. Nobody knows. The market's either going to go up, down, or sideways. And I know that sounds silly, but right now it's a weird time in the market because any one of those three things could happen, right? They could lower interest rates, and then we could see. There's a real possibility we could look back and a year from now and be like, oh man, you guys remember that lull in the action there between COVID and when prices took off and then they came down. They just stayed flat for a little while. They dipped a little bit. Now they're taking back off. This could be a precursor to 08 happening all over again. And we could see 20-30% price drops from here. Then it could just be the Fed's just going to hold firm and we're just going to see things just be flat, whatever. That's a whole nother combo we could go on. Me personally, I'd be entertained to go on and talk about that for 2 hours and I'd be
I understand. It's like a recipe. It's baking a cake. That fact of the taxes going up like that and forcing people to think about moving state is like baking a cake. it takes time to feed through the system and is part of it. And it depends how many people are going in default because of taxes and things like that. So I'm just saying that ingredient is now being baked into the cake.
Yeah.
And also, real estate is a terrible lagger. So what's happening today is not going to reveal itself until at least 9 months, up to 18 months, depending on what else is being baked into the cake, as it were.
Yeah.
So, but it's a depressant. Taxes going up dramatically, and insurance is a depressant. It makes it difficult for people to live in existing houses or buy houses where there's interest, where the interest rate is high and the taxes. So it's being baked into the cake. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, no, you're spot on about that. There is a lag effect for sure, especially with real estate. This is not like the stock market where they make a decision and then not even 2 seconds later, you start to see the ticker moving up or down in that direction, right? I mean, Jay Powell gets on stage and you'll literally watch the market go up 100 points and drop 100 points during the same speech, like depending on what part of his speech he's on, you're seeing the market react, in real time. Right? If you guys go watch his minutes, his speech minutes, and the stock market, it's volatile, depending on what paragraph he's reading and what part of the thing he's talking about, it goes crazy. Real estate, I mean, 9 months later, and we're still like, oh, is that happening? Like, oh, market's still going down and market's going up, or it's going to be interesting. This year is going to be a very interesting year, especially with it being a election year. So a lot is going to happen. I don't know. I'm not smart enough to know which way it's going to go, up, down, or sideways, but something's going to happen. That I do know. Cool. All right. Anybody have anything else on that topic, or questions, answers, rebuttals, anything?
Yeah, I got something, Shad.
Yeah, what's up? Nice.
But it's a little bit off that topic. I actually got a meeting with a seller tomorrow.
Yeah.
He's going through foreclosure, and I want to pitch him sub too. I just don't know how to go about it.
Well, you're in luck because we have a sub 2 expert in here. That gentleman there, Michael Lays, is the king of it. So what questions in particular? Like ask a little bit more of a specific question, and then you're going to get a really good answer.
Okay, well, first I wanted to know what would be a good down payment to offer him for his I mean, I'll share the property if it's all right with you guys.
I don't think it's necessarily needed to share the property because I know you guys are putting this on Facebook and stuff like that. So when you're doing a subject to conversation, it's a much different conversation than the cash deal. Your cash deals, you're looking for furnaces, roof, kitchen, like what's the repairs, what's the cost, all that stuff. Creatively, you don't really have to know too much about that stuff until you already lock in the creative side of things. So your questions are going to be more of kind of like the conversation that we just listened to, where it's like, all right, what's the goal? Like, what are you trying to get out of this thing?
Yeah, well, I talked to him the other day. I had a conversation, and he told me some things about what's going on, but I still need to get more.
Okay. Well, what did he tell you?
He told me they've been living there for 46 years. He fell behind during COVID, and then he said that he stopped paying during COVID. I'm guessing because of the forbearance program, and then that he started paying again after it ended, and that the bank stopped wanting to accept his payments.
So you said 426 years or 46 years?
So he lived there for 46 years, and then during COVID he stopped paying, and then he started paying again after, I guess, the forbearance program ended, and he started paying again, and then he said that the bank stopped wanting to accept his payments.
Okay, so yeah, you need to figure out what type of mortgage situation did he must have refinanced if he's still paying after that amount of time. So you're gonna want to figure out what his current mortgage is. You're gonna want to know his interest rate. You're gonna want to understand Is there any other fees associated with the forbearance? Is it just tacked to the end of that thing? Or is that something where I have to pay it off sooner?
Yeah.
And then basically just have a conversation of what is he trying to get out of this? Is he in a position right now where he could sell it and make some money and that's what he wants to do? Does he just need X amount of dollars in his pocket to do his next chapter and he could sell or finance a portion of it to you? Like what you're basically trying to do is figure out if this is the property and this is the scenario, what's in it for him and what does he actually need? So I'll give you two quick examples. I have one right now in Waco, Texas. They bought the property, they got forbearance on, they didn't pay. I just picked it up off them. I gave them $4,000 or $5,000 to move to a new rental place, which is what they needed to move on from their property. But other than that, it's just a straight subject too. They owe $302,000. The property's worth $300,000. There's no equity. They can't sell with a realtor because the realtor fees, they can't even afford the realtor fees. So they can only do a subject to. So that's if I gave you enough for first and last month's rent to walk away, is that enough for you? In this case, it was yes.
Yeah.
I have
Well,
one that. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna work for him. What he's trying to sell his property. It's a big old farm, and it has like 27 acres. He's trying to get $4,500,000 for it. But the estimate shows it way less. On Zillow. So I really don't know where is he getting that price from? I know he did it. I think he did pull out pulled out equity out of his home because he did add a lot of stuff to his property. He has like a barn and all kinds of stuff in there. So I don't know if it is worth what he's asking for. It's right here in California.
Okay. So yeah, you probably want to figure out how to comp that. I'm not sure how you'd comp a barn, honestly. But your conversation is going to be more like my Corpus Christi deal I just posted. So that deal, the guy was trying to sell it for $600,000 because that's what he put into it. He just needed his money out. He owed the bank $480 at 2.25%. He had $120,000 worth of equity. This is a wholesaler that brought the deal to me because they couldn't figure out how to not pay $120,000. That was a non-negotiable from the seller. People always say things are non-negotiable until you throw money at them. Then all of a sudden everything's negotiable. So basically, talking to this guy, realizing that he doesn't need the money right away. Not buying another house. Like this guy if he's buying another house, he might need some money in his pocket. But in this Corpus Christi deal, the guy already owned another house. So what I did is I said, I'll give you $700,000. Give an extra $100,000 more than what you're asking for. But because of that, we got $0 down. I got 0% interest on the equity. I picked over his mortgage at 2.25%. So the power from that is saying, okay, I know you want the 4 point whatever million on this property. First off, I need to figure out how you came to that number. Second, if you had the money, what are you doing with it? Because you might be able to lower him down, and you're going to want to do something called labeling. Labeling could be like, I have one friend, he sold or bought a property creatively, and the guy, all he wanted to do is buy a 3D printer. That's all he wanted to buy. And then he wanted like $100,000 down. So the guy's like, okay, well, how much does a 3D printer cost? $20,000. Got it. If I gave you a 3D printer or $20,000 to buy a 3D printer, does that help you reach your goals? Yes. Right. So can I sell or finance the other 80? As long as he gets what he wants at the end, he'll sign whatever paperwork you put in front of him. But you have to solve that problem. And then you have to make sure the numbers work, whether you're going to lease it out to another farmer, develop that land, whatever your exit strategy is, it has to make sense.
Yeah. He told me that he wants to move right away. Well, not right away, but I mean, obviously he's gonna have to. It's gonna take some time, but he told me he wants to move up north because they want to learn how to fly. He's like 80 something years old.
Okay, so then for that too, the natural thing that you're going to get, and I got this on the Corpus deal because the guy's a little bit older, is I can't sell or finance for 30 years because I might not be around for 30 years. What you're going to want to ask, if that's the case, is when you do pass, what was the plan with your money?
Yeah.
We're going to give it to some kids, we're going to give it to church, we're going to give it to charity. What was your plan? In this case, the guy who had a bunch of kids he wanted to give his money to, so we actually put it in the contract that for the seller finance portion, if he were to pass away, my seller finance portion goes to his 2 daughters. So that's again another thing that's like that legacy play too. Like he wants to leave something for his kids. Why don't you leave them $100,000 more than what you would have left them on the seller finance opportunity, and I'll just pay them.
Yeah, yeah. He also told me that someone went to look at it on Saturday, and I called him today to see how that went, and he said that they're trying to figure out how to come up with the funds. You know, I guess I'm assuming they're trying to gather money from, maybe private money lenders or something.
Possibly, but also know that buyers are liars, sellers are worse.
Yeah,
like that person
I've
might
heard
not
that
have
phrase.
anyone looking at that property, but just wants a little bit more competition or urgency from you, right? I got someone
Yeah.
else looking at that property. If you don't give me my number, just stick to your guns. Give them whatever number you feel you can do creatively that's going to work for you. If it works, congratulations. If not, there's no point putting yourself in a bad position for something that may or may not have ever happened.
Yeah. Well, man, it's because I don't know how to I don't know what number to offer him, like I would like to share the property with you if I could. I mean, that way,
Yeah, it could be something that like I could maybe do this with you and then try to help you out. But again, I don't know how to price farmland, so I don't know if I'd be the best person on this because I wouldn't know how to price this either. But you're basically just holding up a mirror. So figure out like what he needs, and then you're gonna offer that. It might not be necessarily what the property's worth. It could be worth 5 million. Doesn't mean I'm gonna give you 5 million. I'm gonna give you whatever it works as an exit strategy. So what's your exit strategy? Are you going to keep this property? Are you wholesaling this property? What's your...
I mean, I would like to move into it if I could afford it, but I mean, it depends on the down payment. That's the only, I mean, I don't know how much he would want. I got to get that information from him.
Okay. And that monthly payment might be a little bit hefty if it's a $4 million house. I could imagine be pretty high.
Yeah, well, when he first got the house, when he first bought the house, it was 300 and something thousand, but I'm sure he took out another loan on it.
Yeah, he must have taken out a loan on that. So yeah, you have to figure that out. What he owes. I would probably want to give him what he thinks it's worth. I would be like, what are your next steps? And your offer will be holding up a mirror of what he tells you. So when he says, I really want to go fly, okay, how much is your flight lessons? If I could give you the money to pay for your flying lessons and maybe a little bit more money in your pocket through seller finance, would that be enough to get you to move?
Yeah.
Because the alternative is that he doesn't sell the house and then he's not going to learn how to fly before he passes.
Yeah,
so,
well, his auction date is tomorrow at 9 a.m. But he said it got postponed. But I'm not sure. Because I heard a lot of stories, that people promise people this and that, and then they go to the courthouse steps and do them dirty there and buy the house.
Okay, so he's actually going to auction then.
Well, he said it got postponed, but I'm not sure if that's true or not. I don't know if they're telling him the truth or not, or if he's telling me the truth.
That makes it way easier. You just have to worry about how much he owes. That's all you have to worry about, not this 4 point whatever million. Unless he owes 4 million, what do you owe on this property? And if I could put more money in your pocket, would you walk away? Because you're gonna lose this property either way. And I can put what you want in your pocket, possibly, and I can do a little bit more and give you seller finance, or you can take it to the auction and hope that you get what you want, but you might not get what you want out of that either.
Yeah. So when they're getting auctioned off, I thought the bank is auctioning that, and they don't get nothing from that.
It depends on the price that they get, right? So I'm not going to let the bank's only going to be concerned about getting their money out of the deal. That's all they care about. So that you can say, hey, the bank's going to auction this thing. If they get a penny more than what that you owe, they're happy. That's all the money that they get. If you got a penny for your property, would you be happy? Probably not. So what do you owe? What's your current interest rate? If I were able to take it over on a subject to and stop this whole thing from happening and this infecting your credit, would this be enough for you to walk away? And just ask him his next steps. What's your next steps? What are you trying to do out of this? Right now, you're in a position where you're going to lose the property. You may or may not get money out of it. If I can promise you money that's going to help you achieve a goal that you have, what would that look like? How much would you need up front? What would you, if I have to put a little bit more cherry on top, I'd offer a seller finance portion of it with a monthly payment that's pretty low. And again, this is going to be all based on your exit strategy. So if you want to live in it, you have to make sure that you can afford the monthly payments. So that I'll use that as my North Star. If I can't afford the monthly payments and that's my exit strategy, I'm moving into it, then I can't promise them more than what I can afford.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Good stuff, Mike. Does that help? Nice.
Yeah, it does. Thank you, Mike. Thanks, Josh.
Yeah, great info and spot on.
And don't forget, if it does go to auction and it's auctioned off and there's an overage, you can tell him about that, to open his mail and follow the instructions in the letter, because that money belongs to him and you'll be the hero.
And if there's a what? Sorry, Grandma, I didn't catch that. What was that?
The property will be sold if it's sold off at auction. They'll sell it for at least what is owed. The starting bid will be the price that is owed to the bank. The bank are not allowed to keep a penny more than what they're owed. So that overage, if it's bid up over what is owed, that money belongs to him. And so you point that out and you say, open your mail. And in the mail will be the instructions on how to apply for that overage. That money belongs to you and you'll be the hero. Sometimes if they say, I don't want to go through all that trouble of hiring an attorney or whatever, you can say, I can help for a flat fee. And you can set that and help him get his overage.
Okay, thank you, Graham.
Graham, we're gonna we'll have you do a night about that. So let's talk to the team and then plan that out and promote it, and then you can talk about it over surplus funds one night, because people are gonna run into trouble. It's happening, all over the country, and people are losing their houses because of taxes, because of layoffs, this, that, the other, whatever. And some people are stubborn, as we know. They won't let anybody help. And, they have to learn the hard way. So Graham does that. He's done several, right? Graham, you've helped several people, a lot of people get their surplus funds, right? Yeah. So we'll make a night of that. And yeah, that'll be a great topic. I'm personally interested to learn more about that and see how that all works. So we'll schedule that. But yeah, you got great feedback from Mike, Matthias. So have that conversation, see what he actually needs, what he's looking to accomplish, and focus around that. And then you'll see where to go. Cool. All right. Good stuff, guys. Mike, I appreciate you taking the time to break that down. Matthias, great question. Thanks for asking that.
Thank you, guys.
We're well over for tonight, so we're wrapping up. But we'll be back tomorrow night. Tomorrow night is the IRS. What do you call it? The LLC identification thing, whatever. I forget what it's called right now. It's on the Facebook group. If you guys check that out. So we're going to be covering that. If you guys have questions, if you know anybody that has a LLCs or they have that, that's a $500 per day fine if you don't do and fill out those forms and do all that stuff. So bring your questions. If you know anybody, invite them here so they can ask questions. We're looking to learn about that. And then Thursday we have Jeff Smith. So Mike Lays, one night we need to get you up here, bro. Have you host a night.
There we go.
Talk about
Figure something out.
Yeah. Cool. I appreciate everybody coming on. We'll see you guys tomorrow night. Everybody have a great night. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
See you guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.